Hopefully, if you haven't figured out who I am by now, my name is Kevin Curtis. This is my 21st year in education. I do have experience at the elementary, the middle school, the high school, principal, assistant principal, classroom teacher, instructional coach, and I was a high school football coach here in the state of Texas for 10 years. We're the only restorative community that deals with dual harm. That means when you have two students in conflict, I'm not using the 5x4s, I'm using these. We develop our own set of questions to help our students go through that. And we use a restorative agreement form to document all of the conversation, to hold them accountable, to make that happen so that when they do get played, they come back to talk to us, and we have conversations, and we have signatures to hold them accountable. When I go into the school, the very first thing I do is say, all right, you have a tier 2, tier 3 kid. First thing I'm gonna say is, hey, do you feel like you belong here? See, belonging is your first tier 1 intervention. And you can't say, well, I make sure that they feel like they belong. You can't tell someone how they should feel, correct? You just learned that. So when a student says, I don't feel like I belong in your class or on your campus, now your first intervention is you gotta work on getting them to make sure that they feel like they belong. Kids don't learn from people they don't like. If I don't like you, then I don't feel like I belong here. Every time a kid makes a mistake, I've gotta say, hey, I've gotta put you in ISS if that requires it, but what you do in ISS is you gotta do an exit ticket. You gotta do an exit ticket on the PPC, that's my profanity prevention coordinator. He had to do a 5-minute presentation on how to reduce profanities in schools. That's how he got out of ISS.
You know, I think when I speak to educators, I want educators to truly understand where our heart's at, that we believe that if they can come back and find a realistic approach to making a connection with 2019 students, then they're verging on the idea of making a difference in their classroom.